Today, we are super excited to have world-renowned psychic and spiritual coach, Emalani Speaks. She's also an intuitive, a hypnotist. She works with quantum healing and now has moved into the area of intergalactic beings. In 2016, Emalani was named one of the top 50 psychic mediums in the US. And Deb and I found out about Emalani's work through one of our former guests and now friends, Crystal Heinemann. So when Crystal said we had to talk with Emalani, we listened. So aside from all the good stuff I just told you, what makes Emalani unique is that she is what's called a vibrational therapist. She's moving energy as she reads her clients. So imagine how impactful a session with her would be. So today we're going to talk about all of this, as well as how mediumship can help with forgiving past loved ones, and how connecting with past loved ones can heal your mind and body. And as a special treat, Emalani has agreed to give Deb and I a mini reading. So let's dive in. Welcome, Emalani.
Hi, thank you to both of you. And thanks, Crystal, for hooking us up and getting us together. I just love Crystal. She's such a beautiful spirit. She really is a ray of sunshine, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She is. So much to get to. So why don't we start with, I know you had a near-death experience in your 40s. So how did that change the trajectory of your life? Were you always psychic, or did this experience heighten your abilities?
Well, I've always been psychic. I knew I was psychic since, well, I admitted it at 10, but I could look back and see at 3, at 6, where I predicted things and knew somebody was sick in my family. I would always tell people things about themselves, and then by 10, I was telling people, oh, yeah, I'm psychic, which I don't even really remember like how I knew that, but I just knew that that's what it was called. And I had a little girlfriend. We moved into a neighborhood, and her and I used to study together on the side of our yard, and we had a little basket full of books, and we'd practice. And she's been my friend for, well, we're going on like probably 37 years now.
Wow.
And we used to practice. We had children together. We had got divorced at the same time, but we always maintained that practice, which is really amazing to have someone like that understood it and felt the same. And we also had obsession with UFOs when we were kids.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I was raised, my dad was very, I guess you would say, awake, and he would test us all for psychic ability and practice with us. And he also was very involved with UFOs and being open to that. So I was the weird kid in the neighborhood that was like, oh yeah, and the UFOs and, ESP and reincarnation. So yeah, I can sort of relate.
That is amazing. You're so lucky because so many psychics and mediums and just light beings and star seeds that didn't have that. That's who comes to me to kind of find their light, or like I'm like their mama,
Right.
the one that, gives them that boost and focuses on their light so that they can overcome feeling like the weird kid in the family or the weird kid on the block, right? Or so separate from others because you can hear everybody's thoughts and they're not thinking that great of things about themselves and about you. And, just the whole feeling of being so different.
And Emalani, I want to ask you, now that we're on this subject, it seems like children are often used as the channel, but again, sometimes that life just through parents or society, it kind of gets snuffed out, and then maybe later they awaken again.
Yeah, and that's my path. That's why I do a lot of transformational healing as far as emotions are concerned, because I didn't have that. Now, I have to say, I had it in spirit because I always had a man with me in spirit who encouraged me and taught me and just showed me everything. But I had a lot of ridicule, a lot of shame. I was the weird kid. I was the black sheep. I was the scapegoat. All those things that brought to me to what in other worlds we would say tried to stamp my light out early.
Yeah.
Through my parents, through my siblings, through other people. And holding on to that man and holding on to that spirit and having him comfort me and be more of, my family. was so important at the time. And I have a lot of clients that come to me that are just broken from family relationships, from love relationships, just from their own life in the beginning. And they're so broken because, and this is what I'm so excited that I found out and that I can help transform, is that the reason that we feel broken is because we could not find, or were not taught to love that which was hurting us, right? To transform into our true light nature would be to actually love our enemy. Love the one that's wounding you, to rise in light and be so loving that it transformed that being or those people, or actually moved them out of your way, right? Instead, what we did, we either adopted hate, sadness, separation, all kinds of emotional problems, and what that stamped our light out. We did it to ourselves. But because children aren't really trained yet, parents aren't really, some parents are awakened, thank God, the world is changing, but not a lot of people, especially in my age or my generation, had a parent that said, hey, this is for you to learn how to love that person, to be yourself. That's why we have bullying in the world and anti-bullying. We're learning. We're starting to realize, wait a minute, that guy that just bullied me, he needs love.
Right.
I'm supposed to love him, right? And if we go back and we look at different, teachers that came through the world, that was the message, wasn't it?
True.
Yeah.
That love is the light in the darkness that dissolves or transforms darkness into light. And as children, if you've got that parent or you sibling or whatever that just stamped you out, that is your sacred teacher to your heart, to your light.
Absolutely.
And then you don't suffer. The reason we're suffering so much emotionally and physically, emotionally first and then eventually physically, it turns into some sort of illness as a reminder, hello, you're way off your path. Because we're resisting our true nature by hating, by being sad, by fearing, right? That's resisting the true nature of who you are, which lowers your vibration, which feels like suffering, and which gives your body a signal that something's wrong. Your mind and your body, right? So that's the coolest thing about being able to transform that energy as it comes to you. Like right now, we're seeing it in all kinds of ways, like what's going on in America and all kinds of things that are happening in the world, and tsunamis and all this stuff, right? If we were able to realize that at that moment, you were meant to love that situation and love yourself in the situation, then the vibration would raise past the situation and everyone would be free. It's interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting.
Very.
And actually leads me right into the next question. I think that you've actually maybe already answered it, but forgiveness can be one of the hardest things to do. I know it's very, very hard for me, but especially if a loved one has passed and you've never had any closure. So how do you help your clients with this so that they can find peace in those relationships?
Yeah, so let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about forgiveness for a minute, because forgiveness, your mind won't forgive. Your mind is your protector, right? And it's like, no, there's no way I'm going to forgive that because that was wrong,
Right.
right? That gave me pain, that gave me. And so maybe we don't start with forgiveness. Maybe we start with understanding of why you were going through what you were going through. What is suffering bringing to you? I always say forgiveness is for God. Let God forgive them, right? That's God's child. When I can't deal with it, yeah, that's God's child. Even though we know we are the God within, right? The God is within us. But for the moment, your brain is locked in. It's not going to forgive. It's going to protect you with its life. And so forgiveness is not the first door. Realization of why you're going through this and where it's pointing you to is the first door. Not resisting that you're going through it. So I'm going through this. Something's going on. I see it. Now I feel it. It feels not good to me. Now I can go into the realization of, how is this suffering? What is it bringing to me? How is it transforming my life? That's true forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
That's just acceptance, right? Without
Right.
resistance, there is no need for forgiveness.
Oh, I love that.
I literally felt like a little weight came off of me when you talked about, yeah, that's God's job.
Yeah.
Doing forgiveness.
Right? Because we all have our individual path and other dimensions and all kinds of things. So we're just in each other's path in this particular moment, but they have their own things to deal with as well. So if they're bringing you suffering, their own being is feeling the same that you're feeling. It's just separation. It's resistance to who you really are.
Yeah, I think that makes so much sense. I mean, I went through some really heavy stuff with my ex-husband, and it took a while, but now that I have some distance, it's very clear that we were in our lives to help each other learn, like, compassion and forgiveness. It was almost like this agreement was made way before we came to Earth.
And what if we could turn forgiveness into gratitude?
Right.
Because forgiveness means something bad happened. Forgiveness means that there's a lower vibration in it.
Right.
Forgiveness is resistance to what actually is really happening. And forgiveness is one of the biggest things we teach, isn't it? But do you see that?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Isn't that amazing? I know my whole core is hot right now just talking about it.
It's one of those things, I wish I had realized this more when I was younger. You think how much time when you're younger you spend in angst because you just don't know.
Now, let's transform it even a little bit farther. Let's really get into who we really are. At the moment that your ex was giving you suffering, that ex was actually giving you the opportunity to love. Because that's what that person needed.
Yeah.
Was pure light, just love. Could you imagine relationships that when a person hurts the other one turns and says, "Oh my God, let me hold you. What's wrong?"
It would transform the world if that's how it was. Yeah.
Yes.
And if we raised our children when they're being naughty and learning about themselves and learning how their arms and legs work and, how to say no and all that stuff, rip things apart, whatever it is, right? If we could just hug them and say, "It's okay, I love you."
It's interesting because when you said that, it's like, that is how I treat my pets.
Exactly.
They do something that someone might normally consider misbehaving. I don't assume that they're intentionally doing it to bother me. Something's going on with them and they just need some attention.
Oh my gosh, you're so spot on. I never thought of that before. That's so right, right?
But I don't treat people that way.
No, because they're supposed to know better.
Exactly.
And we can think of adults as, we're all children. We're all learning how to find our way on this planet and, remember our light. And some people are more advanced than others in that. But everybody deserves to be treated that way. God, I'm so sorry that you feel so separate from me right now, that you just feel so separate from yourself. How can I love you more? And if you can't do it physically, because let's say it's a violent situation. Let's say it's some crazy situation that you can't just grab the person, right? Because they're going to sock you or something, right? That's your presence. You can amp up your light. You can center yourself and become you, right? In that moment. That happened to me once. I've never spoken about this on any kind of show, but once my older brother was in such a state with me that he looked me straight in the eyes. He was about an inch away from my nose and said, "I'm going to kill you."
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And in that moment, my being responded with love. Automatically. I didn't think it. It just did it. And I felt that. And he backed off. He just backed away. There was nothing he could do about it. And he was he wasn't himself. He was going through things that he couldn't control himself at the time. But my being sent out this vibration.
Mm.
That's when I really started to know that vibration is what actually is who we are, what we really need, right? How we can transform the world is through our vibration. And in the resistance to his anger, to his fear, because I could see it in his eyes, he was gone in his eyes.
Mm.
He wasn't present anymore. There was blankness. And being able to just allow myself to be me saved my life, for one thing, probably, or at least harm,
Mhm.
but also changed him from that time on. He became sober. He lived 5 years of the life he really wanted to live without us ever even talking about it.
So powerful.
Yes.
And I was there for his death, and he was happy, and I was able to embrace him fully. And it was the most amazing relationship.
Mm.
Oh, that's so special. When Deb was asking about when our loved ones pass over and maybe you want that forgiveness, how do you help your clients? Because I get what you're saying. It's really, we can give that to God and we can kind of turn it into something to be grateful for, but not everybody's quite there yet. And that might be hard to accept. So how do you help your clients with that?
So that's the secret, isn't it? We feel like we're not there yet. So the way that I help my clients first is to actually help them be there. So I embrace their light. I focus on their true self. I help them to embrace that part of themselves that actually can be there. That's number one. Because if I remember who they are, if I see their light, then they awaken in front of me. Now we can deal with what happened between them and their parent in the light. So the transformation happens, the energy exchange happens when they are here with me in grief, which is not your natural self, because we celebrate life, because death is just another aspect of life. So when they're here in grief, they've forgotten themselves. If they're here in anger and, disgust and despair because of the relationship they had with their past loved one, I tend to go into who they are first
Mm.
and remind them, you are light, you are love. That goes through my mind as I'm transmitting energy and I'm listening to them. I'm actually transmitting this light and love of recognition between our spirits.
Mm.
I focus on their spirit. And then it breaks up. The energy starts to break up and they're like, I really want to forgive him, or I really want to understand. They start to open up to me.
Yeah. And it sounds like their vibration is now lifted.
Yes, that's exactly. And that's all the loved one wants. The loved one comes to lift the old vibration that they left behind with that person in order for the person to live a happier life, a more light life, and also for the people that are passed over to move on and go on into other realms of existence without dragging this behind them as well. Right? So that all the vibration gets lifted.
Ugh, I never really thought about how it would affect the soul that's passed over. And so the fact that this actually helps them as well.
Oh, they tell me that all the time. They tell me I'm here because I need to do this for my own it's their choice. They don't have to. There's unconditional love, right? They don't have to. They can see their life review and say, "Wow, I could have done that differently. Let me go back. Let me relieve that suffering. Let me show that person that, yes, I really love." So what happens, which is so amazing, is that in the life review, the passed over loved one is able to see that they are more light than how they acted on earth,
Mm.
and are able to be that light, come through and project that light onto the people that they forgot themselves with.
Wow.
See? So it's so evolutionary, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is. It just shows there's still more work to do when you transition.
Or that you can do. That's what's most.
Yeah, that you can do that. Yeah, that you want to do
You
it.
want to do it because guess what? When you were here, you felt deep separation from your own light, from yourself, from God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And once you pass, you feel such immense unconditional love and light. It's all you've ever wanted. That's all you've ever wanted to remember, to know, to be. And that's what we're doing here in our bodies, right? And they're without the body, so there's not this clunky thing you're, I call it the meat suit. You're this clunky vehicle that you're in that has a mind and a body that actually gives signals. So they have this beautiful light being, and they are light, and they know that they can penetrate this dimension with that light and go right into, this is what, oh my gosh, I so love what I do because I can feel all this. They go right through the heart, the mind, the body of the person, and transform the energy if we're receptive to it.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And this might dovetail nicely into what you're saying, because so many of us look at the genetics or DNA of our family and ancestors in terms of disease and health issues, and just fear we're doomed to a similar fate. They all had heart disease, or they all had diabetes, or whatever. So how can connecting with passed over loved ones help with this, or can it?
Oh yeah, this is so great, right? So they've left the body, they've left the mind. The mind is no longer projecting out illnesses or vibration. So it's all vibratory. So different diseases have different vibrations. Ancestry has, it's just a vibration. But because we're so attached to having a physical body, we don't realize that. And even the body is a vibration. This is a vibrational universe. And it's projected out as these different densities, right? So they're able to leave that density. I've left my body. Diabetes is no longer mine. Now I can go without the diabetes, go back to my loved ones and say, hey, it's just a vibration. You don't need it. There's no such thing as DNA. It's just vibration. It's not genetics. It's just belief. That's a vibrational belief, right?
Right.
But it has to come from somewhere. There has to be blame. There has to be some source that it comes from. But in that, which is so exciting, I think I'm hearing this for the first time, actually. And that's what I love about doing these interviews, because you just get more and more elevated with the people that you're with. So what I just heard was there has to be some source, right? And in searching for a source or a blame, we are actually looking for our true source. And science just needs to go a little deeper, a little wider, a little lighter, to find out that it's actually the source of all things, has nothing to do, or is transformational energy for those old beliefs. We're growing, right? We're ascending in knowledge, in vibration. And so right now, knowing, wow, looking for the source, genetics, DNA, is just not deep enough.
Wow. That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I never thought. I'm processing as you're saying this. Like, wow.
I feel like I'm here talking to you, but at the same time, I'm floating somewhere else right now, too.
Yes.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah. It feels good, though, doesn't it?
It does. I think the first time this has happened, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's a very strange sensation.
So can we go here just for 1 second?
Yeah.
This is a higher vibration. This is a truer vibration for all of us right now. And if we can lock that in, like feel what you feel like right now, that's real life. And we can lock that in. We don't have to go back into any density from here. And that's one of the key things that I do with my clients is we go into these states of more awareness. If we call it more awareness, we're more likely to keep the vibration at this place, right? Rather than I'm high, I'm out of my body. No, you're actually more true to yourself of who you really are right now in awareness. And you can stay here.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think I want to stay here.
I agree.
That's when the body starts to let go of illness. It starts to let go of fears, anxieties, unforgivenesses, right? Is right here where we are right now.
Wow. That's intense.
In the best way.
So, switching gears just a little or a lot, um, you connect with intergalactic beings. What is that experience like, and what do they most want us to know?
Well, it's so interesting because I've had quite a few encounters.
Hmm.
I've had them come into my room. I've had them take eggs. I've had a ship land right in front of me.
Wow.
And finally, after years of study and wishing that they would come pick me up and take me home, which is what my friend and I used to say when we were kids. We'd sit in our backyard and say, "Can't you come get us, take us home? What's going on here?" And we used to call them UFOs, not UFOs. They were UFOs. And that was we had so much fun. And we, all the way up into our 20s and 30s, we'd have barbecues. We'd have wine barbecues, gourmet barbecues, sit out in the backyard and wait for them to come get us. I'm kid you not. And our kids thought it was normal. They thought we were weird, but it was just normal for us to have these parties. Yeah, and we'd skywatch. So finally it clicked inside me. Wait a minute. I'm asking to go home. Oh, that's right. I'm an intergalactic being. Now, what they told me in many, many encounters was that they are us, evolved. We are them. And at any moment, you can connect with yourself and bring that information to you and to the world. So it's not as weird as it seems. What they showed me was that they have no need for certain type of body. That the way that they travel is that they become one with the universe and focus. It's like they teleport their body, but it's not a body. They know they're not solid more than we do. They're not as dense as we are. That they can create worlds and new limbs and all of those things that we wish that we could do, that we're trying to find out through science rather than just doing it through vibration. They teach so much about oneness, and what's interesting and why a lot of people have a hard time with them when they're abducted, or they have a lot of fears, because they're not as emotional as we are. They don't have that part of their mind, and that helps them actually to evolve. They don't hold on to density when they're not as emotional. Now, are there lower beings? Yes, of course, right, that are even more dense than we are right now. Because I say God loves 31 flavors. That's what I put it. There's a reason for it all, right? There's a reason for it all. And the way that Spirit showed me that, I was in meditation and I was astral traveling, and I was just about ready to go out of my body, and I used to teach it, and it said to me, "Why don't you ever go down?" I said, "What do you mean?" Right? And all of a sudden I fell down below the earth. I could see the earth above me. And it said, "Well, you fall into love. You fall in love." But we all like to go up and out. And it's told me because we believe in heaven and hell.
Yeah.
Right? And there's all this thinking of going down, and even going down in vibration. The density, that it's bad. But there's so much creation in that density. So you're no longer, that relieves you of fear of death. And one thing that my galactic buddies said to me was, the reason that we cannot teleport ourselves yet, some of us can, but the reason that as a whole we haven't figured it out yet is because we're afraid of death.
Interesting.
Because could you imagine just disassembling your body, letting it become?
Oh, Deb and I talk about it all the time, how awesome it would be. Emalani, do some of these intergalactic beings, do they ever act as guides to us? Do we all have them, or only some people?
This is what's so important. Yes, they do. Your vibration has to be vibrationally matched with everyone. With anything that you want to come to you, you need to vibrationally match with that. They know that we are in this dense experience, So we need just to raise ours up in consciousness, just awareness that they're really there, and they will come to you in that vibration, but they can't surpass your vibration if you don't allow it. Like angels, anyone. If you don't ask, if you don't realize what's going on with you and say, hey, I need a higher vibration, nothing's going to happen.
That makes sense.
Because they can't surpass the laws of the universe. And they don't want to, because that's what happened to us. That's where we're here, realizing that there are laws of the universe and how to create and how to, live happily and how to love, right? Be unconditional. That's this place. It's like a bunch of broken laws of the universe running around going, how do I fix this?
Right, right. So for some of our listeners who are interested in connecting with their guides and their angels, what are some maybe tips you have to raise your vibration?
Number one is you have to realize that you have a vibration, that the world is vibratory. That's one of the greatest things you can ever learn, is that this world is vibratory. And when you realize that, then you have your door, your mind is open to learning, how do I do that? And then you can go to certain teachers, different things, sound vibration. There's so many, like even with my voice, I make sure that my voice is at a certain vibration when I'm speaking or healing. It needs to resonate who you are, right? So you want to delve into that. And there's tons of great vibrational teachers and even things that you can go to a concert, just feel it. So one of the biggest ways is to actually learn to feel vibration rather than to know vibration. So I'm feeling my vibration. I'm feeling the vibration of the sound bowl. I'm feeling the vibration of, like just now we had this huge awareness of vibration, didn't we? We felt it. I feel like I'm floating out of my body. And that's where you begin to open to. And then after that, the universe automatically brings it to you. So just stay open to what you're invited to. What comes through your Facebook? What comes through your email? What is the conversation that you're hearing? Oh, what is that book? I didn't even ever see that book. Like, once I was at my mom's house and this book was on her bookshelf. And I said, Mom, where'd you get that book? She goes, I have no idea. And it was Conversation with God.
Oh, wow.
Boom, there it was. Just stay receptive, allow the universe to actually show you, because it wants to be intimate with you individually and as a group. So individually, it's going to take you down your path to how you learn it, because it is you, it created you, it is you, and so it knows you intimately. And you just want to wait to say, yeah, I'm in. Teach me about vibration. I'm so in. And then allow the river to flow and you just sit in it. Just be still in it and like maybe you're listening to the show right now and you're like, oh my gosh. And you don't even know why you clicked on it, right?
Exactly.
Because it wants to know you. It wants you to know it. It wants to know itself in you. And it wants you to be available for it to flow through you to create what it wants to create, that it just flows through and it's directed through you.
I think that'll be really helpful for our listeners. So I'm looking at the time. Emalani, do you have a few minutes to give us some mini readings?
I do. I'm excited about it too, because I'm so high right now.
So however you would like to start, we are at your disposal.
Yeah. So I'd like to start with Deb. I'm just going to connect with your vibration.
Okay.
And I want to ask you, is your mom passed?
No, but she has had significant Alzheimer's for years and is sort of got a foot in both places.
Okay, got it. So that's why she's coming to me as spirit, because that's what she wants you to know. I'm in here. I'm in here. She keeps saying, I'm in here. I'm still with you. I can hear you and understand everything that you're saying through my spirit. You have to speak to me through my spirit, not through my mind. I do recognize you. I do know everything that's going on. I'm very comfortable in my body. I want to say, is she in a facility?
Yes.
She's not being moved enough.
Okay.
She's sore.
Oh, okay.
Her back is sore. Her lower back is sore. Her shoulder, I believe it's the left shoulder. Sometimes I get the side wrong, but feels like the right shoulder to me. She's having a little bit of problems with that elbow as well. And maybe even that wrist, like she's in pain.
Okay.
Oh, and oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So what she's saying to me right now is she said, Deb, you need to learn to feel me.
Mm.
Now, that's not the easiest thing for you because there's feelings that you have towards her that you're blocking.
Mm-hmm.
You're blocking being a vibrational, having a vibrational conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So even just now, I almost bit my tongue just now. My jaw just locked up.
Mm.
So there's things that need to be said or wanting to be said to her, and things that she says, you want to know ultimately. She just said, you want to know ultimately if you were my favorite.
I already know the answer to that. I was not.
She's just saying, well, I didn't tell you that. I'm trying to tell you now that I love you
Oh.
equally. That's the pain in your heart. That's the pain in do you have some pain in your back? I don't know if it's lower or middle back.
Yep.
Yeah, you're having this pain in your middle back. That's your heart. And that's from not getting that special love.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's saying, I don't have an excuse.
Mm.
It's true. You guys really weren't a vibrational match.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what she's showing me is you pushed on her darkness too much.
Okay. I see that.
Do you understand that you wanted her to change? Like, come on, mom, wake up.
Mm-hmm.
She was afraid of intuition.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like hell to her to have all that going on around her.
Okay.
And it's because I feel that she was deeply intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
And that really frightened her.
Okay.
You frightened her. Do you understand
Yes.
your abilities? And she wants to move past that vibration before she passes with you.
Okay.
So what she's bringing to our conversation is such an immense unconditional love, but most of all, which is going to be the healing of your heart. Oh my God, I feel like crying. Is acceptance of herself. I'm willing to accept myself now.
Mm.
Through this conversation, through our awareness of it, her spirit now is saying she's willing to accept her light self, her light being.
Wow.
And that has been your whole life's wish.
Mm.
Like, why don't you know yourself, mom? Why don't you wake up? Like, there's this inner conflict you have with her. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, so what she just said was, guess what? You healed me. You did it.
Wow.
You did it. You did it. Oh my gosh, that is
incredible.
isn't it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, my body is so hot right now. It's so amazing to be the in between and to be able to feel the love between you two. And there was some discord because she wouldn't wake up enough for you.
Yes.
So in the healing with you, what we're going to shift your vibration into is you are amazingly lovable, acceptable, high vibratory, absolutely unconditionally loved and seen,
Mm.
because that is what your heart needed.
Mm-hmm.
And she needed to do it for you two to have that beautiful connection. And this brings you into more of a connection with your divine feminine.
Mm.
You'll see the difference in her when you see her.
Okay.
You'll see a huge difference because that validation that you could actually help her, like heal her, bring awareness and awakening to her, is so important to you at this time for you to move into your higher power.
Wow. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome.
That was amazing.
My pleasure. Wow. Okay. Let me just let that go because I just love your mom's spirit.
Mm.
I love hanging out with them when they're in their real self. I like hanging out with anyone that's in their real self, right? But our passed over loved ones, I want everyone to know that our passed over loved ones really do want to wake up. Just because they haven't in this lifetime doesn't mean that they won't in the afterlife.
Mm.
They want to. And sometimes it takes passing or death to do it. You know? But the more that we become aware of that, like right now you're so aware of that, now you know that you can be aware with it with other people, and before they pass. You can have relationship of more clarity with other people before they pass.
Mm-hmm.
So many blessings to you and your mom and your family and all the great vibrations and old vibrations that leave.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, she just said it took me to be in Alzheimer's to be able to accept it.
Mm.
So there was a reason for it. Okay, let me let go. I know. She said, don't let go of me. I know. She's so sweet. I just love her, and I'll just send her a lot of love and wrap her up in a beautiful silk wrap of unconditional knowing. Yes, we know you. Now we see you. Yes. Now you're okay. All right. Well, okay. Next up, right? Okay, Carol. Let's get into your vibration. This is exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Fun. Okay, so it's funny with you because I tried not to go into when you were telling me about the X thing, I tried not to go into that. Sometimes I get too involved in already starting to read the person when we're talking, but I do want to go into the masculine energy of your life. Now, I don't know if that happens to be your ex, if you have female or male energy, but I want to go into Dad's energy.
Okay.
Is Dad passed?
He is.
Okay, and he's been passed for a while.
Yeah, since 2015.
Yeah, he's been gone for a little while. Yeah. Big presence, correct?
Yes.
Really big presence. Like I'm here. I just stomped my feet on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was quite frightening.
He could be. Mm-hmm.
I was very intimidating.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about how I ruled, how I lorded over you, and how I intimidated you into becoming smaller than who you really are. You never told me off. You never confronted me and said, you know what? I am worthy. Now, was this with money?
No, I mean, he was never hard on me. He just, everything was either happy or anger. So whenever I needed advice, it kind of came in like as anger. And it would be money, relationships, anything.
Yes. Let's talk about that. So, just because he wasn't mean outside, out loud, his vibration was intimidating. Like as if someone's standing with their hands clenched.
Yes.
Forcing energy out. He didn't have to speak. He vibrated, you see?
Mm-hmm.
And so that vibration scares you to this day. Now, that vibration mixed with love is your vibration. That powerful,
Wow.
but loving. Now, do you feel your gut right now?
Yeah, I do.
It's tight, right? It got tight.
Mm-hmm.
Really tight. Because your solar plexus and your sacral are confused and locked in place. I don't want to be like that, but I have to be like that to be myself. So I want to move that energy. I'm going to just take that energy, if it's okay with you,
Yes.
and move it up into your heart space, where it's safe to be powerful because it's loving. Now, what just happened was all of that energy just drained out of your dad.
Oh, wow.
That really big, intimidating energy. Now, what I want to talk to you about with money is because of that relationship, that money relationship, I would say you're probably prone to giving too much away. It slips through your fingers, or you give it, you want to heal the world with it. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to. Not with money. See, the reason that you didn't want to hold on to the money is because he intimidated you out of it. Your power, your true self, is love, vibration. You could just be on the earth and never do another thing but be yourself and transform the earth right now and enjoy your life every minute of it. Take that trip, have that lover, do whatever you want. Enjoy your life, and the whole world will transform because of it.
Oh, wow.
No more overworking, no more trying to figure out who the next person you can heal. You don't need that. What the world needs from you and what you were meant to have was abundance in abundance and joy of life. No more shrinkage, no more intimidation, just your smile. You have a beautiful smile, right?
She does.
She does. I know. And twinkle eyes. I can see her. You have twinkly eyes and a big smile and a giant heart that was just, the door was closed a little bit, caged in, because you didn't want to be intimidating, but your power feels so big that it seems intimidating. Do you understand?
Yes.
This is what brought you separation from other people, because your power is huge and their darkness is afraid of it. You see, but mixed with love, with the ability to love, because allowing yourself to actually open up to that is your superpower. Like you should have a cape that says love on the back of it, right? Allowing that to be, it will stop the separation. Because judging the way he was, I can't be like that, I can't be so big and intimidating, actually makes you feel big and intimidating to other people.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And it's broken your heart, like your heart hurts over it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't you guys like me? Why don't you invite me? What's going on? Right?
Yeah.
I love you. How come you don't love me back? Right? Because you didn't love you yet. Not the real you.
Yes, that totally makes sense.
Are you small? Are you not tall?
No, I'm about 5'7".
Okay. So there's this smallness I see that you want to feel, that you shrunk down into. And I don't want you to end up having osteo problems. I want you to be able to be real straight and 5'7" and big and loving and open-hearted and embracing, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to lift your energy past the intimidator. We're going to give that back to him and allow him to transform it for himself. So, oh my gosh, you know what he just told me?
What?
He just said just now, he said, well, I was afraid to be loving. I was afraid to be, that's why he had like that happy, not happy.
Mm-hmm.
He was afraid of his power of love as well.
Oh, that makes sense.
I was really afraid to be used, abused and used. I was afraid to be betrayed.
Yeah.
Is how he felt in life.
Yep.
So I became angry and big and intimidating and a bully with my vibration. I really love you. He really loves you. Oh my gosh, the love that's coming through from him right now is absolutely warm, silk. Oh, it's liquid. It is so beautiful. I hope you can feel it.
Yeah.
I see him embracing you right now and almost putting his head on your shoulder, like crying like a little child. And he's saying, why did you keep loving me? And what I told him back was, because that's who she is. That's the real her. Can you embrace that? Can you let her love you? because now that you love him that way, you can be you.
Oh boy, you're making me cry, Emalani.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah.
Those are good tears, right?
Yes, they are.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to feel you. Like, I can feel you opening your heart and loving him. I can feel the completion of that journey. Yeah, like he said, first he said sorry, and then he said no need for sorry. This is it. This is what was supposed to happen. This is the way it's supposed to be. You were supposed to love me, and I was supposed to accept it, and I just couldn't. I'm so happy I can accept it now.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Emalani.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Wow, my whole chest is hot and burst open.
That was intense.
Yeah, yeah. And so much of what you said makes sense. And I'm sure, Deb, with you too. It's just so many times I've been told my sacral chakra and my solar plexus, those are the ones that were always kind of not open and spinning. And there was a lot of fear. And I always have that pit in my stomach. And yeah, it just things feel lighter.
Yeah, a lot of things, like your stomach is going to heal a lot. There's a lot of intuition that will come to you now because of it, because it was just a little bit clouded by that energy. Just a fear of being intuitive, right? Because being intuitive is very loving. It's very receptive, very loving. And I don't think you thought you would get bigger or go higher in that.
Yeah.
Things will become very clear. You'll see things in much more light now.
Oh, good. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm so excited that you both are on the earth with me at this time, because here we are, right?
Yes. And it's such an exciting journey, and just even how we found you. And I just love how it all worked out.
And it's so funny because I know I told you before in the email that I actually say, oh, I left breadcrumbs for myself. So when you invited me, I was like, oh yeah, I have to go on the show. That's my big breadcrumb, right?
Yes. I'm so glad, and I'm so grateful that you were able to join us. And I hope our listeners get so much out of this and can feel kind of the transformations that Deb and I went through. I urge you all to go to Emalani's website. And I know, Deb, I think you're going to give some of that information.
Yes, the website is emalani.net. That is EMALANI.net. Definitely go and check it out. There's a lot of really great stuff there, and connect with her and do this too. I mean, it's intense. I invite you to go and check it out and connect. Emalani, thank you so much. This was amazing.
You're so welcome. And it is intense, but it's really good, isn't it?
Yes.
So, there's some mediumship that's just for entertainment, and then there's transformational mediumship, and, all kinds of, even in the entertainment ones, you do change. But this is intentional transformational healing through mediumship. And I want to send so much light and so much love to everyone who's listening, and to their loved ones who are passed over. Just an invitation, an open door to actually come and experience yourself in the light and remember who you are and move on to greater things. Go past the relationships that have ended, and let's end them in a way that you can live without regret.
Beautiful.
That is beautiful. And I think that's a perfect note to wrap up on. So thank you again for sharing everything you shared with us today. I'm sure I'll be feeling this for a while. And hopefully our listeners, as Carol said, hopefully they can feel this too, because it's pretty amazing. As always, our podcast can be found on our website, thedivinebreadcrumb.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. For everyone listening, please go check out Emalani's site. We'll put her contact information in the show notes, and connect with us as well. Send us an email, share our podcast with your friends, leave us a review. We love hearing from you. And thanks so much for listening. Emalani, thank you so much for joining us today. It was very moving and very intense.
Thank you for having me, and so many blessings to you both.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.